everyone, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Sabrina Bonudo. I'm an Ayurvedic health counselor, yoga teacher, and an essential oil specialist with doTERRA Essential Oils. And today I'm going to be giving you a brief overview to Ayurveda. What exactly is this Ayurveda thing that I'm always talking about? I want you to be able to walk away with a very tangible understanding of Ayurveda. Now listen, there are so many amazing resources out there explaining Ayurveda in a very sophisticated and organized manner, but there are also a lot of resources out there that kind of paint Ayurveda as this picture of this flowy science where you're just kind of like harmonizing in nature and everything just kind of like comes into balance, and it's just like not depicted as a serious science. And sometimes that honestly kind of gets to me because there's so much richness and there's such a root within Ayurveda that I think has to be taken a little bit more seriously. And so I hope that I am able to give you a better understanding of Ayurveda as a whole. It is a very complex science, and it's very easy to get discouraged when you're first learning about Ayurveda just because there is so much to learn about it, just like with any medicine system really. But I just want to let you know there's no need to be discouraged. If this is the first time you're ever even hearing about Ayurveda, enjoy it. Watch this video over again. I can totally tap you into resources that are good to just kind of indulge in while you are learning about Ayurveda for the first time, if that's the case. Or maybe you're not learning about Ayurveda for the first time. Maybe you are seasoned in Ayurveda and you just want a more simple way of understanding it and explaining it to others, then this is going to be for you. Ayurveda is a lineage or modality of holistic health, holistic healing. And with that being said, as a disclaimer, before I really get into this, I want you to know that I am in no way against modern medicine. I believe in an integrative approach to health. I think that we have to be smart about what we're using on our first line of defense and what we're using as our precautionary measures for our health and wellness. But I'm in no way saying that you need to strip away any sort of modern medicine from your life and only focus on Ayurveda. That is absolutely never going to be the goal here on my channel or in my practice in any way, shape, or form. Ayurveda is an ancient healthcare system. It is actually dated as the oldest continuously practiced ancient healthcare system ever. Let's break down the actual word Ayurveda. Ayur translates to science and Veda translates to life. So Ayurveda translates as a whole to the science of life. And Ayurveda's goal is to bring our body to a state of balance, bring our body to a state of harmony, which, by the way, our body is always working to do anyway. That is the goal of our body. Our health is always working to detox and digest and cleanse and do all of these things naturally without us having to force it to do it. We just have to take care of ourselves, and our bodies naturally are going through these processes anyway because our bodies want to find that level of homeostasis, right? And so that's really what Ayurveda gears towards, is noticing where you are out of balance, where your body is not able to optimize and function properly, and bringing it back into that state of balance. And obviously this looks different for every single person depending on, you know, what situation we're all in and what we're putting into our bodies and on our bodies and what we're putting into our minds even. So there's so much that goes into how to actually bring your body and mind back to balance, which is why I always think that it's really smart to work with a professional within the field of Ayurveda when it comes to your health. And this is totally just a fun fact, but a lot of times we are introduced to yoga first and then Ayurveda second. At least that's how I was introduced to Ayurveda, was after yoga. And it's actually really beneficial if you were to be introduced to Ayurveda first and then yoga second, because through Ayurveda, you are able to connect more with yourself, connect more with the rhythms of your body, understand where you are in a state of balance and where you're not in a state of balance. And through that, you're able to find the appropriate kind of yoga to practice in order to keep you in an optimal state of balance. So that's interesting. I mean, literally it doesn't really matter that much. Again, I was introduced to it the opposite way around and it's fine. There's actually the first Yoga Sutra states, and the Yoga Sutras is this ancient yogic text, but it states, now we begin the practice of yoga, and now the practice of yoga begins, or something along those lines. And it's believed that and now means that now that we've learned about Ayurveda, now that we've learned about how to balance our body and balance our mind and balance our spirit, we are able to move forward and practice Ayurveda. As we're studying Ayurveda here, I want you to think about two words, Prakriti and Vikruti. Prakriti is your personal state of balance, your state of balance that is different from everyone else's. And this is really your state of harmony when you are the most aligned with your state of balance, truly. And I know, again, this is kind of where it can get a little bit, what does that actually mean? Well, it really means like this is usually the state where you are taking care of yourself the best, and this is where you are thriving. This is where your body is optimally functioning. That's really what we mean by state of balance, is when your body is optimally functioning and doing all of the things that it naturally knows how to do anyway, but optimally. And so that usually means, again, you're taking care of yourself. And so don't get caught up here in worrying about, wait, I don't know my exact state of balance. Have I felt it before? Do I know what that even means? Am I balanced? All these things, because the reality is, you guys, we are never going to be perfectly balanced anyway, but I believe that if we at least have an idea of what makes us feel good, what makes us feel nourished, what makes us feel whole, what gives us energy, what gives us life, what makes us feel lighter in our minds and in our hearts, then that is truly what our state of balance is, and knowing how to work towards that feeling for ourselves. And this is where it does come in handy to work with someone one-on-one, because say I had a client who was working with me personally, I would be able to work with you to know your biological humors, which are known as the doshas, which I'll get into another video, but your personal biological humors, to know what would make you feel if you're in your state of balance versus what won't. And so then there's the word vikruti. Vikruti is your current state of balance. So the state of balance that you are currently in. And so understanding these two words, prakriti, your state of balance, your state of harmony, and vikruti, your current state, gives you an idea of how to get from point A to point B. So say that your vikruti is so far away from your prakriti, your current state is so far away from your balanced state, then you are able to recognize that and say, okay, I am in this current state right now. What do I need to do in order to get to my state of balance that works for me? And so you might be thinking, okay, Sabrina, what does that even mean? How do I find my state of balance? How do I get to my point of balance? How do I know what feels good for me and what is for me and what is not for me and all those things? And again, this is obviously very personal, but for the purpose of filming a general video as an intro to Ayurveda, I'm just going to go down like a kind of just a little tangible list here. The number one thing that we talk about in Ayurveda is diet and digestion. When we are digesting our food properly, we are more likely to be digesting our thoughts properly. We are getting rid of all of the waste within our body, letting go of what we don't need within our body. Then overall, our body doesn't really have the opportunity to feel sluggish and just not so great. And another thing we focus on a lot in Ayurveda is our lifestyle, our habits. Think about the habits that are adding to your vitality, your nourishment, the things that are good for your health. And then think about the habits that you have that are maybe taking away from your health and impacting you negatively. Those habits that are good for you, a lot of the times are allowing you to feel rested and charged and ready to go and clear. And then the habits that are not so great for us are usually the ones that are making us feel tired and like we don't have enough energy and we don't have enough time in the day to get things done. And the hardest thing here sometimes, and this is, I'm speaking for myself, is facing ourself when it comes to our lifestyle and our habits, and habits that are sometimes so rooted within us. There's a lot of work that gets done here in terms of habit architecture. We obviously focus a lot on essential oils and herbs and inviting holistic approaches into balancing our life. But I do think it's important to first focus on your diet, your lifestyle. Are you moving your body? Are you doing those foundational things within our health in order to find a state of balance? And then we can start really inviting in things such as essential oils and herbs and teas and tinctures and all of that really fun stuff we can start inviting in, because our body is in a state of more balance, where it's going to actually be more receptive to these natural healing properties and these natural tools that we're using on and within our bodies. As we start wrapping up here, I do want to focus on the emphasis that Ayurveda puts on nature, focusing on the rhythms of nature and how that impacts our health, how that impacts us internally as well, because we are humans in this natural world, right? We are part of nature, so we are innately connected with nature. So looking at all of the seasons, Ayurveda has a way of doing that, of focusing on your diet for different seasons and focusing on different lifestyle habits throughout these different seasons that are going to help you find a better state of harmony for your body and your mind. Also focusing on the different times of day with our circadian rhythm. And then I don't want to go into this too much. As I said, I'll make a whole video about doshas, but I cannot do an intro to Ayurveda without talking about the doshas to some degree. The doshas are what are known as our biological humors. There are 3 doshas. There's Vata, Pitta, and Kapha. And each of these 3 doshas have different qualities and different elements that show up within our lives, that show up within our health. And we all have doshas that are more prominent within our lives. And so again, I know this is where we can kind of start getting a little funky, like what is she talking about? But just trust me, bear with me. This is something we will cover in a later video at a later time, a little bit more in depth. But when we're talking about synchronizing with nature, we're really focusing on synchronizing with the elements that show up, the qualities that show up within our bodies and with our balances and imbalances as well. As we are closing up this video, I do not want you to be overwhelmed at all. I know that was a ton of information. You don't have to know it all. You don't have to get it all. You don't have to fully understand it. I truly believe that with so many things related to our health, Ayurveda is something that you truly have to start living and understanding in order to really grasp, right? And really truly live it out. So I hope that that was helpful for you to some degree. I am so happy to answer any questions that you have, or if you have any recommendations for future videos, I am here. If you are feeling like it, you can like and subscribe. I'm still not used to saying that, but like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next video.